for us. And
Yeah.
the last thing we're doing is working with a sort of a, it's called South Fork Lodge. It's a fishing retreat just north of us. And the restaurant there wants to buy local. And so they're willing to work with us, and they're letting us know what they want us to grow and letting us set the prices. So it's kind of an emerging relationship, and I think it's going to be really cool. So we're going to try it out and see how that works. I did want to mention that we're also going to start marketing hops to homebrewers because we have a great homebrewing community here in Pocatello, and it's one thing that we constantly get asked for. Do you have any fresh hops? So, yeah, it's pretty fun, and fortunately one of our CSA members is a really good home brewer, so we can have a Ladybird IPA at the end of the season.
All right. Good. I really like that you went through and actually assessed three different things that you were exploring, and you decided that you could do a couple of them, but you couldn't do the medicinal herb market thing. And I think that's a good decision that you've went through that process.
Well, I am the type of person who says yes to everything, and because I'm just really excited about local food and helping our community move forward, and so I'm constantly taking on more than I can handle and fighting off more than I can do. So this is a big step for me, Cinda, like really taking the time to assess things and saying no. Like I really want to do that medicinal herbs market, but not this year.
Well, there you go. That's good. And I think you talked a little bit about the charter school, but I like again that you've got very clear timelines for your future plans. Anything else you want to tell us about your future plans?
Well, I guess just from this slide, because you mentioned pricing as a issue that constantly comes up, and I've noticed that too in the workshops and conferences and things that I've gone to. And so I'm working with a couple other growers here in town to develop some pricing sheets that we can better utilize in terms of selling wholesale and retail. And then the other component of this is we're not really involved in the farmers market here, except for selling garlic in the fall. And I think farmers markets are so incredibly important to local food systems. And ours in Pocatello is sort of a struggling market. So I'd really like to get involved, even if it's not necessarily as a vendor, but just maybe on the board or something, to progress our market to make it stronger for the rest of the growers in our region.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing all this. I wish we had another hour to talk. But you're really doing a lot. I can tell that this was the right time for this course for you, and that it helped you. And I think all the the instructors can be proud that they had something to share with you. So keep up the good work, and we'll hopefully be talking to you sometime in the future.
Yes,
So thank you.
So much.
So our next student is Eileen. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Eileen.
Hi,
Eileen is from near here. She's from Lewiston, Ramstead Ranch. I've always known your operation as Eileen's Eggs, so it's kind of a combination, right?
Right. Well, we're actually kind of a farm in transition. I also farm with Stan and Jean Hayes, and they're also taking the class. And so we started out on 2 acres in a residential area in Lewiston that actually allows animals if you have the approval from the city. But we'll be transitioning onto 120 acres that's north of Spokane, about an hour and a half north of Spokane. So we've kind of had our practice farm here in Lewiston to help us figure out what works for us, what doesn't, and then we'll be taking everything north and kind of expanding to a larger scale there.
Oh, I didn't realize the new place would be in a different location. So that's, yeah, that's interesting. And is this picture on the bottom of this first slide, Stan?
That's Stan and Jean. Stan and Jean both, yep.
Good. Well, hello to Stan and Jean. I assume they're listening. We're going to talk about financial assessment of enterprises, and I kind of wanted you to go over kind of what you learned.
Sure. So one of the first questions you had asked us was, what is the exciting part about what we've learned? And for me, with the financial assessments and coming up with budgets, it's having answers on paper in front of you, so you can really make informed decisions about, gosh, do we need to cut back here? Should we expand? You know, when we're dealing with feeding animals, would it be better to grow our own feed or import it, and that kind of thing. And so when you have those numbers in front of you on a piece of paper and you're sipping coffee, you can make those decisions versus when you're in the field and you're going through your daily grind. And it's, you know, so much of what we do as farmers is kind of gross labor or maybe grumping through the work, and it's often at an inopportune time when the weather's bad or you're late to get to the farmer's market and that kind of thing. So when you can look at those, you know, those tasks on a piece of paper without the rush and without the emotion of the daily grind, it's a lot easier to go, oh, hey, this is where we're really spending a lot of our valuable time on something that could be made a lot simpler with maybe a small purchase. You know, a tool or something that would make that job a lot easier, so you could, you know, free up your resources. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think this slide kind of reflects that. Get it down on paper, and then you can evaluate it. I love this picture, by the way.
Yeah, actually, this is when my parents came to. This is the first time they visited the farm north, so it was, you know, I was super excited to show them this is what we do.
Yeah, I can see you saying that there.
Yeah.
Okay, so what have you done related to this?
Yeah, so we just committed to getting all the answers that we needed and like spending the time, because it's for me it was a challenge to stop doing the hands-on work and to sit down and go, this is valuable. It is valuable to sit down and work with our pencils and ask questions like, how much does it really cost to go drive 40 miles and pick up 5 tons of hay at a time, come back, unload it, and then make those laps again? You know, those are questions that are hard to ask when you're, like I said, when you're in the middle of the season. So we just committed to finding out all these answers. And so we sat down with several sample budgets from other operations that may not be the same size as us. Like, for example, we do poultry. Well, a lot of the poultry budgets you find are for thousands of birds, and, you know, we don't want to go there. But they do have things that we may have forgotten to put on the list, feed, you know, infrastructure, just the little things like that. So with a fine-tooth comb, we tried to collect everything that we could, get it down on paper, including things like labor, because, like someone mentioned before, it is our most precious resource. And we do want to get paid for our time. It's not charity, and it's only fair to us to get paid. You wouldn't do free work in any other industry, so we don't expect to as farmers either. So really including like the most whole, complete numbers that we could in these budgets. And the other thing that we did in compiling those budgets is similar to what the last presenter just said, was starting from the end. Like your tax forms or those budget forms, or the business record forms, and building the budgets in a way that the information will easily be able to transfer to those forms at the end. Because I think it's really important that taxes be easy and not so stressful at the end of the year, and also that you are able to really use those evaluation tools like the gross profit analysis and your income cash flow statements and things like that. So in order to not have to create a whole nother set of records. We built these budgets in a way that we'll just be able to plug those numbers into those forms later on down the road, so we can really evaluate how accurate our budgets were and also evaluate, okay, how in balance is our whole farm system.